me now, I ain't no holy individual, but I am righteous. I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm not gonna steal from you, I'm not gonna cheat you. I'm gonna tell you the truth, whether you like it or not. That's it.
Yo, can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you loud and clear. What's good, my digger?
Turn this off real quick. Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm good. Hold on. I got some music playing in the background. I was just chilling, waiting. Man, everything is good, man. You know, I appreciate you. First of all, I appreciate you reaching out to me and, you know, getting some time. I know that we chopped it up before, you know, a few years back. So I appreciate you back then. Appreciate you now. So, yeah, man, you know, just say thanks for reaching out.
Yeah, I was just wondering if you remember when I reached out back then. You know what I mean? This is before
Right.
this is way before you dropped Soul Train or whatever. And my only gripe was, why did it take you so long to drop that classic album? You went on Supreme Cerebral. That was dope, man.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, that's a really good question. And, you know, that was an album that took us, you know, it did take us a long time for us to kind of get everything in line. You know, originally when we came out with it, we were going to do an EP, but then as it came, we were kind of building on it. We decided that, yeah, and you know what, the shit is just too hot, that we need to make sure that it's a legit LP. And so what we did, man, we went at it strong. We did tons of tracks, man, tons of tracks, tons of features. As a matter of fact, probably about half of it that we recorded, and it wasn't even on the album. So we probably recorded anywhere from around 30 to 35 tracks. And out of that, we decided to kind of cut it down to what we ended up coming out with. So, you know, it just took a long time just for us to get the beats right, to get the, you know, for Cerebral to get down on the pen 100% right. And, you know, it was a project that we knew that was going to be something that was going to be momentous for us. So, you know, that's why it did take as long as it did. So
Right. So what's your weapon of choice nowadays? Because what was it? Well, actually, what was it back when we were conversing a few years ago?
Yeah, so from the time that we talked to now, it's pretty much been the same thing, and that's the 2000 the 2500 MPC 2500. So that's been my weapon of choice, and it's been like that for probably the past say like 10 years. I've been using the 2500. So I didn't start off with that. I started off with making beats on programs like Fruity Loops, but as I progressed into making you know, beats and producing, I felt like what my workflow would be a lot better, a lot smoother with the machine. And especially once I learned it, you know, it was game over.
Right, because I notice a lot of beat makers, when they first start nowadays, they usually start with computer programs, and then they switch over to the actual beat machines, banging on pads. Do you see this? Do you feel there's an actual difference between making beats on a computer, clicking the mouse, and then banging on the pads?
Well, yeah, it's just all about workflow. You know, it's all about workflow. It's about what is more comfortable to you as a producer. You know, for me, I used to make beats on, like I said, Fruity Loops. I used to actually use a program called My D.I.G.G.A.Z Music Maker. And this was back in 2001 when I first started making beats. And this is like a program that I bought from Fry's for like $50. And I was making shit on that. But, you know, using those programs, it helped me understand just the whole concept and the segments when it comes to music itself, well, especially beats. So, you know, I think it's just all about a matter of just workflow and what works best for you. You know, for me, I like to actually get, you know, to actually feel the music. And, you know, when I'm hitting the pads, because everything that I produce now is 100% like just finger drumming. And, you know, sometimes when you hear my music, you can actually hear the slight imperfections on it. And yeah, so for me, it's just all about the feel of the music, for me to get that rhythm, to get that natural tempo going. So that's just the way I rock it. And I can only do that with the machine. I can't really do that with programs.
Right, got you. So, you know, this is strictly for my diggers. So I take it that you still dig for records, or you now e-digging online. What do you prefer?
I do it all. You know, I do it all. I actually collect records. You know, I dig for records, but, you know, I also do, you know, I'll sample really anything. It doesn't matter if it's on YouTube. It doesn't matter if it's movies that I'm watching. It could be video game soundtracks. It could literally be anything. But, you know, for me, and one thing that I've been blessed with is being in this industry is coming across, you know, the way I look at when it comes to collecting records, there's two types. There's the diggers, which are us, which are the hip hop producers, and then there's also the collectors who actually collect the records for the sound and for the music itself. And they might spin it, they might DJ it. So for me, I managed to develop relationships with a lot of collectors, you know, collectors in the soul records movement. And you know, so a lot of these collectors, they actually come to my crib, man. They come to my crib with their records, man. We'll be spinning some records, and you know, they love the beats too. And they just say, yeah, whatever you have, whatever you want to flip, go ahead and just flip. So, you know, piece to George Miller, piece to Kids Got Soul. You know, Kids Got Soul is actually my cousin, and he's a heavy collector too. So, you know, shouts to them. And, you know, for myself, I do the same thing, man. I'll just go whenever, it doesn't matter where I'm at, man. It could be at the Goodwill. It could be at just any record spot, man. If I see something I like, I'm just gonna pick it up. It don't matter what the price is. Usually I go a little bit more, you know, I don't wanna say low budget, but something that where I can be able to bargain and get like a lot of records and then kind of just dig through that. So
Right.
that's
That was
how
the
I do it.
next question I was going to ask you. Like, what's the most amount of money you've spent on a record?
The most amount I probably spent on a record, you know, it's kind of hard to say. I would probably say like anywhere from like $25 to $30. I really don't go out and get something that's going to be out like just outrageously expensive. You know, but then it's also, that's just for sampling. But if it's something that for me, for listening, I might be, you know, spend a little bit more. But I can't really think of anything off the top where I spent a lot, at least over you know, 100 or something like that. Yeah.
Gotcha. So when you go digging, I mean, how do you know when to buy this record? Like, is it the cover? Is it the instruments? Is it the artist? What makes you say, hey, I'm grabbing that record right there?
You know, honestly, if I don't know the artist, if I don't know anything about any background of it, usually it's just the cover, you know, and what I try to look for is stuff that's more geared towards like the later 60s through the 70s, and even 80s too. But though, like any record that I see from an artist, and it can be any type of music, it doesn't need to be soul, it doesn't need to be jazz, psychedelic rock, it doesn't matter. You know, I picked up some old gospel records back from the 70s. And, you know, and I just like the way that the front cover looks like, you know, it gives you like that vintage raw, and, you know, more times than not, I'll listen to it in its hot garbage. So, you know, but that's really what I look for. I just look for something that just appeals to me as far as like the cover. So.
Gotcha. So you just judge by the cover. If the cover looks ill.
Yeah, if it looks ill, then I'm with it. Then I'm just gonna run with it, you know. But you know, us as producers, we tend to find more, you know, records that we really can't do anything with, you know. Or at least for me, I'm very like specific on what I want to produce, you know. And you know, I can probably flip every beat on, or you know, every sample that's on there. You know, I like to be very selective, especially with time. I really don't have time to be flipping everything up. So
Right. Definitely, I definitely agree with you. So you're very very picky on what you sample. You're just not grabbing anything. You're actually just right. So when you get these records, do you spot sample? Meaning, do you take the needle and just go across the record, or do you listen to the whole record before you decide?
no, hey boy, you know, that's another good question. So it depends on the sample. So if I hear something and it hits me right then and there, I got to stop everything I'm doing and I got to sample that part. But generally, what I do is I take a mental note on that certain sound or that certain loop that I like, and I'll give the record the entire time to breathe, and then I'll listen to the whole record. And once I've listened to that, I'll know exactly what part I'm going to sample, how I'm going to sample it. It's already, I'm essentially making the beat already in my head. If I'm gonna make it really boom bap, if I'm gonna do, you know, loop it, even though I don't loop, I chop the loops and then I configure it that way. But I kind of have an idea on how I want to do it. So
when you say you don't loop, you're opposed to looping? Are you one of those that just chop up everything?
yeah. No, I'm not opposed to looping. When I first started making beats, that's what I did. Like when you get the first part of the sample, and then you loop it all the way, you know, 4-bar, 8-bar loop, and then you just, you know, EQ it, or you set the tempo, and then you just, you know, copy and paste. You know, that's the way I used to make beats. But now what I do is I'll do pretty much the same theory on the loop, whether it's 4-bar, 8-bar, 16-bar, put it on the pads, and then I basically am able to create my own tempo with that. So I can still keep the same vibe of what it is, but yet completely switch the swing of the whole beat. So yeah, but you know, whether it's loops, it's to me, I don't really categorize it where it's like, you know, the drums or the loops or anything like that. It's just really just a finished product for me. So that's the way I look at it. Because some now times you can't even really tell. You hear something, you're like, damn, that shit is fire, and you think it's a loop, but really it's not. There's actually lower drums or something that was added to it. So
right. So when it's time to make a beat, when D-Mar sits down to make a beat, does it start with the sample, the drums? What do you start with first?
I would say like 90% of the time it's going to be the sample, you know, 90% of the sample, because that for me, that's the foundation of the whole beat. That's what I really start off with. So that's going to really what's going to set the feel of the whole beat itself. So generally I'll flip the whole, well, you know, I'll find a sample and then I'll chop it up, and then I'll usually run it about maybe 5 to 8 times, meaning like I'll loop it one way, then I'll go back and then I'll chop it up this way. And then basically what I'll do is it'll be like this process of elimination. I'll just listen to every single one that I reflipped, and I'm like, okay, these two are the ones that are going to be the main meat of my beat. And do I need to add something? Do I need to do anything else? And more times than not, then I'll start to add the drums, add everything else to it. So yeah, just to answer, so to answer that, yeah, that's basically how I do it. I start with the sample, and I kind of run from there.
So with the sample and chopping, like, are you one that like to chop in like small little pieces?
Mm-hmm.
You have bigger chops, like, you know, do you chop in bars, or like it's just in little stabs? How do you chop?
I do both. I'll do long chops where I hit the pad and let the sample roll, and then you just, you know, flip it up. But more times than not, it's just a 1-2, just a 1-2, 1-2, and then just kind of chop it up by kick and snare, kick and snare, kick and snare. Add that to my pads, and I'm pretty much good to go.
Right,
So, yeah, that's more times than not. That's how I generally sample. So,
right. So when you turn the machine on, you set the bars to what? 2 bar, 4 bars, 8 bars?
Generally on the MP, I just added to do 4 bars. Yeah, I do 4 bars, and then I'll do the chop in there, and then what I do is I'll just basically copy and just continue off from that. But usually it's about 4. Sometimes I'll do 8, but that's usually where I started off with.
And do you make multiple sequences, or is everything all one sequence?
So yeah, that's what I'm saying. So like I'll have one sequence where I have you know, one sequence with the sample, the drums, and then I'll basically just continue on from that. I'll just add another sequence that's just basically it's a repetition of that maybe, but just different types of sounds, or the sample might be a little bit different.
Right. So now drums, where are you getting your drums from nowadays? Is it packs? Or are you strictly on vinyl? I mean, yeah, where are you getting your drums from?
It's actually I built my drums from making beats from back in the days. I've gotten drums from pretty much everything, from records to you know, mostly it's records. And what I'll do is I'll just get the drums, and then I'll just basically, what I do is I'll actually chop them up. So if I get like a drum loop, I might only use that snare, I might only use that kick, and I'll always know what kick that is. And then what I'll do is I have that stored in my library, and then when it comes to making beats, I already know exactly, like, okay, I need to add this kick, and then I'll do it, EQ it, and then if it's not hitting the way I want, then I have something else in mind, like, okay, now this one's gonna give me a little bit more pop that I had from this record, and then I'll just, you know, add it to that. So, right. And I'll get kick snares from really anywhere, to be honest with you. It doesn't really matter if it's vinyl records or from other like hip hop records, you know, I'll go, but I won't use the actual loop, whatever they use. I'll just go and I'll cut that up, and I'll use whatever part I want and make it into my own. So.
Gotcha. Now, are you quantizing your drums?
No, I don't quantize nothing. Yeah, I did.
You did say you like to have it a little sloppy, if I'm correct, right?
Yeah. So I don't quantize anything. I just essentially just finger drum everything. I know exactly where my drums are gonna come. Where my I basically just freestyle the whole thing, to be honest with you.
So when you say you finger drum, right? Are you like banging the kick and the snare at the same time, or you're laying the kick first the snare, the hi-hat.
Combined. Yeah. So when I first started making beats, I was always impressed with cats that do finger drumming. It's just the beats that they were finger drumming weren't like my style beats, but I was just impressed by the way that they were doing it, and so I basically just taught myself on how to do that. And in the beginning, I would just hit the kick, the snare, and then I would get the with my other hand, I would get the other chop of the sample. And then so now it's to the point where I can be able to do it all. So I have the kick, the snare, the hi-hat, crashes, whatever, in addition to the looped up, chopped up sample within the same pads. Because I have 16 pads, 4 of them are dedicated to the kicks, or 6 of them might be dedicated to the drums, and the other ones are going to be dedicated to the sample. And I basically play it in unison. So that's essentially how I do it. Yeah.
That's dope. That's dope. So what BPM, what range do you tend to stick in when it comes to BPMs?
The BPMs, historically, I've always been in the low 80s. From 82 to 84 has always been that DMAR sweet point. But when I first started making beats, are always in the 90s. I know like now right now it's still in the slow 70s. But I could see a lot of the producers, a lot of the songs are starting to gear more towards up tempo. So I'll go all the way to 90, but I'll go all the way down to like 76. And I'll go a little bit lower, a little bit higher than that. But generally, it's kind of a wide range. But usually, it's in the low 80s is kind of where I stick with.
Got you.
Yeah.
They can give you that steady flow for the
yeah.
Right, where they don't feel like they're trying to keep up with the beat.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's what I do. I like for the beat to breathe a little bit. That's just the type of when it comes to the hip hop that I like, that's the tempo that I usually mess with.
Gotcha. So how do you know when a beat is done? When it's when you need to just stop because you feel like overproducing? How do you know when that's done?
Yeah, well, it's funny, man. I mean, I don't know about other producers, but for me, it's like it really is never done. It's never done. Even though you might think it is. You might, export it, you might listen to it, and you just always go back and be like, damn, you know what, maybe I could do this, maybe I could tinker that. So it really is always a work in progress. But more times than not, us producers might not have so much time. Right. So, you generally, the one that you do in the beginning, usually you kind of just, that's going to be the one. Or unless you're working with an artist and they want to have it a certain way. Generally, I don't do that, but I could see a situation where that could be the case, where you might have to go back and either extend it or add some parts, or whatnot. So.
And I know you work with Supreme Cerebral, who is just like super nice. I mean, he's just a top tier above average.
Yeah.
Do you make tracks tailored to him? Do you like, or you make beats and he just picks the things he wants?
What's fun, Cerebral is my boy. We actually grew up in the same area. So, we go back. And so he actually, when it came to Soul Train, he actually would come to my crib and I would just start making music on the top right then and there, So there are certain beats that I'll make and then I'll know right off the top, like, this is going to be a Supreme beat, or this is going to be a smooth beat, or this is going to be whatever type of beat. And that's kind of the way that I look at it. So, it's one of those things where certain beats that I know that I make, I know they're specifically tailored for someone like Cerebral. So yeah, that's kind of how I do it.
Yeah, that's pretty dope. Like I said, he's a top tier lyricist. He's, probably, I would say, just one of the nicest that's out right now. I mean,
yeah.
Every time I hear him on a track with somebody, he always bodies it. He goes in like he's battling somebody. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Supreme Cerebral, shout out to Supreme Cerebral, man.
Yeah. He's nice. Yeah,
terribly nice. So now, you're underground hip hop beat maker / producer. Is hip hop paying the bills, or do you do other things? Is there real money in being a beat maker?
Yeah. So when it comes to being a beat maker, I don't look at it as it being my number one source of income. It's actually passive income for me when it comes to the distribution, when it comes to the streams. If I end up collaborating with certain artists and we come up with an agreement, then that's how I do it. But the way I look at it, man, it's always been passive income because it's not something that I've ever done for intentionally just to try to be make it, you know, where that's my bread and butter. If that were to end up being the case, then that would be the best. But the way I look at it, man, I have my hand in so many different pots. So and beat making, producing is something that even the people all know, like, you know, I really don't do this for money, man. I do this because I love it. And that's why I put my stuff out on all the streaming services so you can stream all my beats. You know, I'm not hitting people with, you know, hit my Bandcamp and, you know, if it's going to be, you know, 40, 50 bucks. No, I don't even do all that, man. I'll throw it out there for the people. And that's how I do it. You know, fortunately enough for me, you know, I do get, you know, some residuals on it, but the way I look at it is more of a passive income than it is anything else.
Right. So it's not really enough to just live off of alone.
No. I mean, it can be, but not for me. No, this is something that I do because I love to do. Yeah.
Right. So you say you definitely got to be in it for the love. So if you're in it for the money, this is really not for.
No, I mean, if you're in it for the money, then, you know, then you know, it is a hard game. And for myself, if I really put myself in a position where I can really be able to monetize, I think I have a problem doing it. It's just for me, you know, I'm in a position where this is the way I like to do it. You know, I like to just make music for myself. And, you know, fortunate enough, it's one of those things where people actually, you know, love the music. So, and they rock with it. So, you know, really that's what it all boils down to, man. I don't want to say it's a hobby, but it definitely is my passion, man. And it's been my passion. I've been making beats for over 20 years. So, you know, that's where it's at.
So I'm going to ask you this question. I ask pretty much all beat makers this question. You don't have to answer this question because I don't want you to incriminate yourself. This goes with sample clearances.
Right.
You know, how do you dance around that? Do you clear samples? Do you feel that you're not that high up in the game where you have to worry about sampling clearance or clearing samples?
Right.
What's your take on it?
Right. You know, I'm not one to really go and try to invest into trying to clearing my samples. People could think that that's stupid, but, you know, I feel like if I'm in a position where I'm getting millions and millions of streams and I know that someone's going to be coming after me, then that's when I have people. And I actually have, you know, people on my side that can be able to get that taken care of for me. So I'm not really stressing on that. I know that a lot of the samples I use are really, really known samples. So, you know, for me, it just helps with the exposure. You know, if someone hears it and someone wants to come and send me a cease and desist, that means I know I'm doing something right. I'll gladly take that shit out. I mean, if they want to come after me, they, you know, they're not going to get anything, you know. It's not, none of this is under my personal name or anything like that. So, you know, I mean, it really is just about the exposure. That's at the end of the day. You know, if I start making beats for someone like Drake, which I don't know if I ever would, but if for someone, him, for instance, or like Jay-Z, then that's something that would have to be in the conversation as far as getting shit cleared. You know what I mean? So, but as far as these little beat projects that I do, no, I'm not even really stressing that.
Got you. Yeah, because it's been a minute since I've heard a lot of your work. And I know back then you had a lot of output. Maybe I'm just not in the loop right now because there's just so many people out here making beats and doing their thing. But I always remembered you as being super nice with it or whatever. So will we see, or is there a D.I.G.G.A.Z quote unquote chronic album with you and a bunch, or with you making beats and a bunch of MCs rhyming over your beats?
You know, I actually have a lot of tracks with a lot of different artists that where if I wanted to, I can release something of that caliber right now. But I feel like it's not the type of work that I would want to put out yet. But that's something that I definitely am interested in doing. And I already, like I said, I already have the material. I already have, you know, a lot of the connections with artists that really fuck with me. So that's something that I definitely would definitely not be opposed to. It's just for right now, I'm really all about just creating the awareness, to continue to create the awareness of just my overall just beat making, because that's really where the passion lies. It's just the raw, just the beats themselves.
So we'll be seeing, so you safe to say we'll be seeing more instrumental beat albums or beat.
Oh yeah. I got a few that are coming out. So I got a few that I'm going to be releasing here within the next. By the end of the year, I should have another 1 or 2 out. But as far as doing like more like that chronic, you know, that's something that I feel like will happen, but just it's not going to be imminent. So.
Right. So you're just really strictly into the beats and just making beats and just instrumentals and things like that. You know.
Yeah.
So are you selling beats to other MCs, or is that's not really your focus?
No, I don't. Yeah, I have a lot of people reaching out to me, but I don't. I don't. I have before, but that's something that I just don't. I'm not doing currently right now. You know,
Right.
I don't have anything really freed up. So yeah, I don't. No.
Okay, so if they reach out, you're not even giving them a free beat, not let alone selling it. You're not even getting a free beat.
No, I mean it depends on. I don't want to say it really depends who it is, but right now I'm just. It's just what my focus is and what my goal is. Really, is not to really do collaborations, and it really is based on just on the beats. Now I do have a project coming out with my boy Message. We're going to be dropping that in the next month or two. It's called Power and Glory. And that's something that I completely produced. It's a boy that one of my boys that lives here in Orange County, where I'm from, right. And it's a nice project. But as far as being out there and collaborating and all that, I don't really want to wear myself thin. So I usually just kind of keep it really simple and just focus just really on the beats. So
I guess there's no wish list of MCs that you want to work with then for the moment.
Yeah, I mean, there's some MCs that I would love to work with, like, who do I think of off the top of my head? Like maybe Rock Marciano, I wouldn't mind doing stuff with him. It would be that cats that I really listen to. I've been listening to a lot of Navy Blue. I fuck with Navy Heavy. So, cats like that, are the cats that I would definitely would love to do stuff with. So.
Right. So I know as a beat maker, you're also a fan of this music, especially beats.
Of course.
Right now, that's doing it now, currently, beat makers that you feel that you enjoy listening to.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a handful of them. I mean, Clipto is one. I mean, I really love him for his loops, I mean, he's dope as fuck. Animos is really dope too. There's a really handful of them. I mean, my little brother, Irie Beats, he has my little brother, man, and he be making some heaters, man. So, yeah, so I mean, there definitely are a lot of cats out there, like Stu Bangas, someone like that. Yeah. So a lot of these cats, man, they're really nice in their own, like, in their own right. Everyone brings a little bit different, something different to the table. And that's something that I respect, because I see that. I see how they're doing. I see their grind. I see exactly how they're doing it, man. And just always 1,000 salute to those guys, man.
Right. Yeah, because Clipto carved out his own little lane with the loops.
Yeah.
He's really exactly. like him, the historian Nicholas Craven, they like carved a little lane.
Craven, yep.
With the loops and things like that, and it's always a treat to hear something by Clipto. I mean, I really love to hear Clipto.
Yeah. Well, he has a great ear, man. He has a great ear in samples, and he knows how to really, really hone in on the loops, man. So, he's doing his thing, man. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, definitely love Clipto. So before we let you go, what advice would you give upcoming beat makers that want to get in the game, work with MCs, and navigate through this underground hip hop? What would you tell them?
Well, at the end of the day, man, when it comes to beat making, it's something that you have to do because you want to do it, because it's a passion. It's something that's in you. You're not going to want to get into it for any type of other than that. Like, you're going to be coming into it thinking you're going to be getting rich and stuff like that. You can, if you work hard, of course you are. It could be with anything. But when it comes to producers, I would just say it's all about networking. It's about relationships. It's about getting out there. It's about really meeting a lot of people. And it is just about having that type of positive energy. Like you were saying, when it comes to, maybe giving free beats out. And I've done that numerous times. The soul beats, I've given them out. And, sometimes you would have to do that. You're going to have to give out some beats just to create that awareness so people can hear who you are. So, the more that they hear you, and the more that you'll become familiar with your music. So, it is a grind. It's something that for upcoming production. When I first came up, man, there was no one making beats, man. I mean, no one in my area. All the only people I really knew was like DJ Premier, Dr. Dre, Jay Dilla, Alchemist. They were like the only producers that I knew of. But I wasn't inspired like, oh my man, I want to make beats like them. I just kind of fell into it, and I just loved the whole process, the creativity behind it. So, for upcoming up and coming producers, man, it's just all about just finding what type of sound works for you, for yourself, you know, even if people don't like it, you know, just do it for yourself. And then, you know, if you get into a position where people start liking it, then you can build to start to network and do everything on the back end to try to promote your music. So that's the way I look at it, man. Just really do it for you and no one else. That's the advice that I would give. Yeah.
Listen, D-Mar, thank you for once again for taking time out your busy schedule to chop it up with me for strictly for my diggers. You know, I made this platform strictly for us beat makers to put the beat making in the forefront. It gives the audience a chance to put a face to the name. A lot of times we'll see the name D-Mar, we'll see Clipto, and we don't know what they look like, who they are, or anything like that. So this platform is really for us. And it's coming from myself. I'm a beat maker. So, you know, the questions I ask you, only a real beat maker would ask you those questions, you know. You know, and I'm glad you were able to chop up some beat science with me today. And it gives a lot of the audience who are doing the same thing, who's in their bedroom, you know, who might be a big, huge supporter and fan of your work, give them inspiration to keep on going, you know?
Yeah. No, I mean, for me, I'm not in the scene where I'm on social or anything like that. You know, I just really, when anybody sees me, man, they just see me just working on music, and that's pretty much it. But, you know, it's one of those things where I appreciate you definitely reaching out, man. And, you know, maybe we could do more of these. But, you know, it is cool, and it is a blessing for someone like yourself, man, to be able to reach out to producers, man, because a lot of us are really, I don't want to say obscure, but just like, you know, we're so caught up in the shit that we do, man. We're not out there like that, man. Like, not like the MCs or the artists that are really on stage and stuff like that. We're usually on the back, you know, in the backside. So for you to create awareness for us, man, you know, salute.
Yeah, definitely. Just had to put you all in the forefront, you know. And let you all know that you are appreciated, you know, things like that, and let everybody see who you are, you know, and get familiar, you know, make you the household name as well, not just the MC. You can't let the MC get all the shine, you know what I mean? And let all the shine and whatnot. So once again, thank you so much. You know what I mean? I'm a big supporter of your music. I love what you do. Keep doing what you do.
Okay, I appreciate you. All right, man. Salute.
All right. Peace.
All right.
I'm gonna tell you now, I ain't no holy.